To remove the caliper, we need to remove the two bolts for the sliding pin. One is on the top and the other one is here. So it needs a 13mm socket. Yeah, it's okay. So that's the bolt. Do the same for the lower one. Now I've got a bigger ratchet to do this. It's relatively tight. So this is the lower bolt. So both bolts have been removed. After both bolts removed, we can just slide the caliper out. So this is a caliper. The caliper should not be hung over the brake cable, brake hose there. It should be supported or hang on some kind of hook. So now you can see I just used the luggage rope to hang the caliper that position while you're working on other parts of your car. To remove this caliper bracket or caliper carrier, you need to remove the two bolts here and here. And this is very tight, so we need to use the brake bar. You need a 17mm socket. Got the bolt on. One hand is too difficult. It is very tight. Even I used two hands, it is still very tight. Now a little bit loosen, and you can see still you can see, yeah, that tight. I think this is rather tight. So that the bolt for the caliper bracket or caliper carrier. So now both bolts for the carrier or bracket removed, and we can remove the bracket, the caliper carrier, like this. To remove this brake slide pin, you just twist it, and at the same time just pull it out, so you can see it's getting longer. And here the rubber boot, and the rubber boot is holding the end of this pin, and also it's get into the groove of this brake caliper carrier. So you just use a finger or screwdriver just to peel this off here. So you can see the inside is the pin, and now you can just twist and pull. So that is the pin. Notice the profile. So at the end is like that, and at the head is like that. And this is the rubber boot that get into the groove. If you just kick it in here at the end, you see, you get it out. So that groove get into the bore over there. So while I was doing the cleaning, I found the pin. So this is the lower pin for the disc brake caliper. And actually this one is not metal, this is the rubber sleeve. And this structure here, the rubber sleeve, just push it over, here's the stopper, here's the stopper, so it just stayed there. So this, I think, is a good design. If you have a rubber here, it will not seized easily. So I think it will prevent your pin stuck in the hole of the brake caliper carrier. That's a good design, I think. Look at these two slide pins. They are different. So you can see this one with the rubber sleeve and stop, and it's put the rubber over there. So actually inside the hole is actually sliding on the rubber. And this one is just everywhere steel, but we do have some kind of a flat. I think there are 3 flat around here, and for that long there are 3 flat, and here it's just round. And another difference is, so this is the top slide pin and this is the bottom slide pin. The shape is also different from the top. You can see, and this one is just equal, parallel. And for this top pin, so one side is bigger than the other side. This side is smaller and this side is bigger, and the same with the other side of the brake. So they're different, so don't mix them up. And originally from the car, at least I didn't change anything. And the caliper carrier, the slide pin, and this is the top, this is the bottom. 2 sides the same, and it should be by design, I think. So when you put them back, don't mix them up. Remember which is top, which is bottom. So top, bottom, bottom with a rubber sleeve there. Look at this as well. You see, this is the bottom, it's a parallel, and this is the top pin. So this side is smaller, that side is bigger. So this caliper carrier is from driver side, right side. To lubricate the pins, I'm going to use this red rubber grease. I'm going to put the grease over the pin. I'm going to get them into the hole so that I hope inside the hole there will be a layer of rubber grease. And I'm also going to put some grease just at this board for the boot to get in. And I think similar I'm going to do on the other side. I just put some red grease to the pin, and I just get the pin into the hole. There's the rotating. Yeah, there's the air, you can see the air in it. By this way, I can get a layer of rubber grease into the hole, you can see. So I have put the grease on the pin into the hole, and at this groove for the rubber boots, and at the bottom of this pin, so everywhere we have got a grease. And also I put some grease at the two end of the rubber boot. And then now I'm going to put the rubber boots into the groove before I put the pin on. To put the rubber boot into the groove at the hole, we just get some grease on it and just squeeze, and now it is in. And then we put the pin from the top. It's all greased very well, and we can press it down and make sure here the rubber boots get into that groove on the pin. So it is okay now. And this one is not getting in. So we can just lift it up. Lift it up. It is now get in. So this is how to lubricate and assemble the pin into the caliper carrier. So finally, you can wipe off any grease you can see outside. Just use the kitchen towel, just wipe them clean. I also put some red rubber grease onto this piston rubber and piston between them, just in case. It should help to prevent water getting in, at least no harm. Front brake caliper bleeding nipple here, screw, and you're going to need 8mm socket. I think you can just put the plastic cover off and use 8mm to lose this. So before you do that, just try to use some WD-40 or similar to soak it a while. Just get it loose in order to bleed from here. Okay, so then we back up a bit, make it a little bit of pressure before we use it for bleeding. So now it's not very tight, so we can do the bleeding. We're going to push the piston back into the bore, and we're going to clamp the brake hose and let the extra fluid getting out from here. Okay, there are different ways to push the caliper piston back. This is how I'm doing it. And the setup principle is that we use a hose clamp. Hose clamp, I don't have one, but I made one using two steel rod and vice grip to clamp the brake hose. And then here I'm using just the ball pen barrel as the tube. I don't have a tube here, and I think that worked very well. And I put the 8mm spanner to the bleeder, and I use the 150mm G clamp. I'm also using a brake pad between the cylinder and the G clamp, and just to push the whole piston back. Have the hose clamped so there's no fluid going back to the ABS, to the master cylinder, to the brake fluid tank. And then here I apply some pressure, and then I open this bleeder, and then I pressure more and get the brake fluid out into a tray. And you can see I have got already some here. Get into the tray. After we reach the bottom of the piston, and then I use this to tighten it up. And after that, you can use your spanner, tighten it up again a bit, but you don't need to tighten it too tight, otherwise you may break the screw. So this is how I push the piston back. So I'm tightening the G-clamp, the piston going in. So the brake fluid getting out from the ball pen barrel. And also you'll see ball pen barrel full of liquid, so air will not get back in. So this is helpful than just nothing from the bleeding nipple. So after new disc installed, you can install this caliper carrier and just 2 bolts. And as you can see here, there's one air and the other one is here. So just 2 bolts, put them on and then tighten them to 89 Newton meter. That's 89 Newton meter. And there are 2 free bolts for the, I think for the caliper. Yeah, this is the new one. Looks like this side and this side. And also you see this is not totally flat. There is just a little bit cut this side and the other side as well. Now that's my brake pipe parts. On this car, on the caliper carrier, shims are used, so you don't have to put any grease on the pad. But I still want to put some on the pad before I put the pad onto here. So here you can see I just put a thin layer on the ears. So this side and this side, that should be enough. Yeah, look at here, I put on one pad. The shims are rather strong, the spring very strong, so you have to use 2 hands to put them in. After we have got the brake pad into the caliper carrier, and we can put the caliper back on. And we just say this is the inner side, this is the outer side. We just release from the hanger and put them on here. I'm going to use 2 hands. When you put on the caliper, I have put it on. You may have to push this slide pin inside if they're too out. Just try to press them in, and then you will be able to install this caliper. And also notice that the pin, there's the flat side, and it should be like this. You see the flat side, and on the caliper, see on the caliper here is also flat, and you can see at the bottom. So the flat side, just engage the flat side on the caliper. Then after that you can put the 2 screws on, one on top and one at the bottom, and just through this caliper hole into the sliding pin. And the other one is the same, just for the bottom size. So this is just a screw into the slide pin, because they're the flat, so slide pin won't turn when you turn this bolt. I have got the 2 caliper bolts on, and one is here, so the top one is here, and I think now we can torque them and we have a torque wrench with a 13mm socket on it, so we're going to torque them to 30 Newton meters.